Are you ready to watch me step out of my comfort zone and try something that I do not feel very confident in? Welcome here. Today we are going to be making some Scandinavian inspired folk art birds for a part of my home that has been quite neglected. And so let's just hop on over there. This is where we will be for this project, right up here. I want two birds on either side of the cross that my mom gave me when I moved out for college, just because I want people, when they have been here and they're leaving, I want them to feel like they have been in a storybook. I've used clay twice on this channel. Once was for my Coraline doll that I made several years ago now, before I had children, and the other time was more recently, within the past year. I used air dry clay for my Baba Yaga clock. When people are really good at clay, I find it super impressive and also very intimidating. But I'm bringing you along with me because I have been wanting to do this for a while. So without any further ado, let's kind of hop straight on into it. Shout out to my amazing husband who always ends up drawing for me, and I actually made him be on screen this time. This is what I was basing these birds on, and so he pretty much just freehanded an outline for me that I then sat and cut out. I hadn't realized that people who work with clay can put an image on top of it and then cut it out, but that made this process way less intimidating, and I'm quite happy with how it came out. The materials I ended up using were the wax paper that Hens drew on for me and then I cut out, some chopsticks because they're the perfect width and heaven knows that I can't really use them otherwise, and some air dry clay. Spoiler, it took forever to dry. And then I was planning on using this raisins container to roll it out, but it turns out air dry clay is kind of tough. Here is a time lapse of me trying to get this clay to soften. All I can say is this is my sports because this was more of a workout than I care to admit. And then also, spoiler, the raisins did not end up working because the clay was too hard, so I switched to a can of green beans, and the recipe on the green bean can will be made in the near future here. Just a quick moment of appreciation for my favorite little helper, and he got to play with Play-Doh while I was playing with clay. Once I got the clay to the thickness that I wanted, I put the cutout onto the clay, and basically I took a pocket knife that's Hens's, and I have some scary cutting footage of me cutting all the way around the outside of the bird. This works super well. The hardest part about this was not tilting the knife so that the edges were in a bevel, but instead trying to keep it straight up and down. And during this process, I also had to fix Owen's Play-Doh squisher thing like 4 times. This is water for the clay.
Okay.
I went in with some water to smooth the edges and the top just to make sure that everything was even. I did go in with sandpaper later, but the lady I watched on YouTube did this, and honestly, I thought that it just kind of helped the whole thing look intentional. Then it was just a rinse and repeat on the other side, and for this I made sure to flip the bird tracing that Hens did over so that I could have the two birds facing the center without them looking funky, and making sure that the front side that I was working with the whole time was in fact the front side instead of having to flip it over halfway through. By far the hardest part about this was keeping the knife straight and not beveled, and then also the outline Hens had done for me, this was its last run, so this kind of had to be the bird, and honestly I was pretty happy with it. This side I did have to smooth down a lot more with both water and sandpaper eventually. I'm not entirely sure why that is, other than maybe I was rushing through it a little bit more, But once the water was all done, it was time to let them dry, and this took literally days. So I will not be using air dry clay in the future, but I really like how it turned out for this project. As with most of my project, I hid them in the guest bathroom since there's a baby gate, and that way Owen can't play with them. After about maybe 36 hours, I went in to flip over the birds, which I was laughing about that I was flipping the birds, so everyone laughed because I'm funny, because I have not found anyone who thought that was as funny as I did. After about 4 days of these drying, I was still not fully convinced they were all the way dry, but I just kind of had to keep going with this project. So this is how they look. You can see they look more chalky because of the way that this terracotta clay dries. You can see here I'm pointing out the fact that they curve during the drying process, which is kind of disappointing, but I'm not entirely sure how to correct it. Like a real grown-up, I actually use sandpaper. Then it came time to pick the colors for these birds, and because the cross is the center of our doorway and what I had been planning this project around, I used it as the reference on the table to figure out what colors I wanted. I decided to step out of my comfort zone here and really pick some bright colors for the bases of these birds. Most of the colors in our place tend to be very muted and earthy toned, but I went out on a ledge and I'm so glad I did, although it was quite a hard decision for me.
Like that. Yes. Yeah. You like it too, Owen? Yes. Yeah. Too. You like it too. Okay.
There's a song runs along in my heart. Through every dream, love is the theme. Serenade to a maid, sweet as heart. One I adore, love more and more.
You telling me to wash my hands?
Yes. Mama's still painting. She doesn't need to wash her hands yet.
Owen, I love you. Yeah.
Shout out to Hens who went in and drew all the folk art designs for me. I really appreciate it. Once again, I made them be on camera. Despite the two birds being different colors, I wanted to make sure that the colors on the two birds were the same for both. So it was interesting to see how the same color would look on the two different backgrounds. For some cases, like this green, there's actually quite a difference where it looks more gray on the turquoise bird than it does the purple. So color theory is wild. Just due to the nature of this project, I wasn't too concerned about the art here being perfect because I want it to look natural and organic and homemade. And honestly, I don't know if I would have liked them as much as I do if I had been too stressed about them being perfect. So I am quite happy with the artisan look that they ended up having.
Crimson kiss, my heart's proclaiming love that's like a flaming red rose. Summer night spreads its bright silver glow. Romance's king rules everything, calling me constantly, thrills
Although I wasn't too overly concerned with the perfection of how everything looked, I did want to make sure that things looked fully painted instead of just like with one coat, with the exception of the one red flower in the center here, because I did kind of like how it looked almost worn. But for all of the yellow and green, I wanted to make sure that everything looked completed. Then I went through with the detailing work, so this was like the veins on the leaves and also outlining all the flowers. Originally I thought I was going to do this with a fine tip black Sharpie, but I actually couldn't find it, and so hopefully Owen doesn't have it anywhere, but I do like how it looks a lot better without it. I think the black would have made it look less organic and more store-bought, which is definitely not what I was going for. So although this was quite intimidating since this was not the original plan, I am quite happy with how they turned out. Then I decided to go ahead and try this liquid varnish, which makes it look like it's been fired. And with that, that takes us to the reveal. Here they are. I am so happy with them, and I'm talking a little quiet because our kiddo is asleep. But a few notes. Number one is you can see they dried curved, and I'm not really sure how to fix that in the future. I think I will definitely be doing more clay items, but I think I'm going to switch back to the oven baked clay that I originally used for my Coraline doll because I found it easier to work with all overall, especially now that I know you can like cut it out and make it look good. And then the other thing is I put this varnish on it to make it look shiny. And right now it only has one coat. I'm actually going to do a second one right now, but it works well. It looks fired, which is exactly what I wanted it to look like instead of just being matte. Most of the objects we have are in fact matte, so I wanted something just a little bit different for when you're leaving. Overall, I'm really happy with them. My confidence is definitely here, so be ready to see more clay things as we go along because I am feeling maybe more confident than I should right now. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy impractical crafts, lifestyle content, vintage objects that belong in a different time, I am your channel. My next video, we are making something for baby, and I cannot wait to see you in that one. So I'll see you there. Toodles!